Hi everyone, welcome back to the OmniStudio series. And it's me, your friend Vishnu Kumar. And in this session, we are going to learn about OmniScript, bit of introduction, and bit of hands-on on our basic first OmniScript. So let's jump into it. So you might have the question that what is an OmniScript, right? So far we have learned about the flex card, data raptor, and integration procedures, right? So integration procedure was more over backend thing. Flex card again, it was more over front end thing. Then data raptor is more over your DML and SQL, right? But OmniScript is your again a front end thing, but with more powers, right? So FlexCard is something which can show some data on screen, right? But it cannot take inputs. But when it comes to the OmniScript, OmniScript can take inputs. You can create multiple step wizard, right? You can build a entirely form with the OmniScript, right? So if you want to take an example of like something like this, right? You want to have some form like this, you can build through the OmniScript, right? You can build the login pages, registration pages, right? And a complex entire wizard as well, right? So everything can be done through the OmniScript. Again, OmniScript is moreover for the inputs, whereas flex card is your front end, which can show the output, right? And it have a lot of other features which we will explain and we'll go through the next upcoming sessions. But let's start with creating our first OmniScript. So once you go to your OmniStudio app, right, you will see a tab called OmniScript. Okay, here once you click on it, you will able to see your all the OmniScript, right? And then obviously the great feature of the OmniStudio, which you can import and you can export anything, right? So the similar thing works here. And then we have new button. Let's create one OmniScript, and I am going to call it my first OS. So yes, OmniScript, sometimes we refer as a OS as well. Here I'll put language as English, and this is again a very powerful thing here is your OmniScript can support multilingual as well based on your user and custom label. So by default it is English, but if you go for multilingual, there are a lot of things which you need to configure for it for sure. But for now, let's go easy and let's go with the English. Okay, then I'll give the same first OS in type and subtype. And before LWC, you OmniStudio was like more over velocity thing, right? Where you can create these kind of a script, but it was in different architecture. But now everything is in Lightning web components, right? So what does that mean is like once you create your OmniScript at the end, it is creating an Lightning web component similar to the flex card, right? So once you save the flex card, it does create a Lightning web component. Same thing happens here. Yeah, well, and that means you can have FlexCard in your OmniScript. That means you can have OmniScript in the FlexCard. So it works in the both way, right? And definitely we will go through these as in upcoming sessions. But it is taking a bit of time here, and it will take time. Be patient here because OmniScript is pretty heavy thing. Uh, Not simpler as a data raptor and FlexCard, but it's a pretty heavy like once we go into this, right, you will able to see that how many options we have here. Okay, so this is your OmniScript designer screen. So once you create it, you should able to land it here, and once it get created here, we should able to see here after refreshing a bit here. So here we go. So we can see our first OS, right? If it is what is the language supported, right? English. It is LWC enable, and active. What does that active mean is like if it can be used anywhere or not, right? If it is not active and if it is already being used somewhere, user might see an error called that your OmniScript is inactive or not found, something like that. But this is another topic. Okay, and then you have couple of more option here. We will explore these options, but you can see the preview, export, activate, and then open in LWC OmniScript Designer, which is pretty much same thing. And you can go from here, you can directly click from here, you will get into the same screen. Then in this we have header bar where you see the a lot of actions like preview. We will go there. Then we have new versions. That this is a this is the best thing about the OmniStudio is like you can create a lot of versions for anything, which means you have proper backup, right? And if you are doing some kind of POC of something, you are not in trouble anymore. And then activating the version. So we will go there and edit, which you can change your name, language, the things that you set up in the first place. Cancel it. Export, pretty much it will be exported. You can import the OmniScript. When you export it, it will export. If there are any data raptors or IPs attached to it, it will export those as well. And then how to launch. So it will tell you like how you can use your OmniScript in multiple places, right? Because at the end, your OmniScript is LWC. So if you want to utilize in somewhere in LWC, this will be your syntax, right? So C stand for custom lightning web component, and then a dash after custom lightning web component. And there is another dash. The reason is that because I made first um, first OS and the F is capital. And if you know about the LWC, then you know that like when we have anything in capital, right, it goes as a small with the prefix as a dash, right? So that's what happening with the OS, because that's the reason we have dash and then we have small o and then s, right? And then it is a subtype, like if it English prefer. Okay, and if you have some parameter getting passed, this is how you will be utilizing. And if you want to navigate from your LWC to this OmniScript, right, this is how you can navigate. This will be your components. It's a kind of container or wrapper which calls or which like create your lightning components dynamically. Pretty much, pretty much lightning stuff here. uh, then we have like aura wrappers, similar to what we had in the LWC. And if you want to access directly through the URL, this is your way. Like again, the same wrapper that we are utilizing here. Then what component we want to launch, right? So we are launching C first OS English, then layout lightning and some basic stuffs, right? But you it's just pretty much same what we have here and what we have here. Okay, so nothing, we don't need to do anything here. Just click on done, and then we have an option called open in classic designer. I can show you this, but I am not going to do anything in the classic designer, because what you do in classic designer, it's more over uh, outdated, I can say that. And in a nutshell, when I'm using the LWC OmniScript, then I always build in the LWC designers, not in the lightning classic designer, because you might see some of the actions here, but you might not see those actions here, right? So if you build something here and if you keep it as enabled as LWC, you might see some feature working and not working, right? So my suggestion, keep it simple, keep it on the LWC OmniScript designer. Okay, with that I'll close this window and I'm not going open to that again. Cool. So now let's look at this right bar. Here we have two things, a build and setup. So in build, you will see all actions, display, functions, group, inputs, and OmniScript. Yep, I'll go through one by one. Actions, moreover, I would say it's your backend process that you are calling. Like you can see, you can call a data raptor from OmniScript. You can call pretty good stuff like DocuSign, envelope action, delete actions, email, integration procedure, metrics, and navigation, PDF, right? Something like that. And set errors and set values, definitely we will be using these a lot. And then we have second is display. As it suggests, name suggests that it will be moreover used for the display purpose only. So putting a line break, showing some output. Then we have functions. So if you want to perform some kind of calculation on as user types, right? So you want to build a simple calculator having two numbers and showing the output right away without going into the like backend or server side. Yeah, you can do that through these things. And then messaging is more over toast. Then we have groups. Pretty big topic, but groups are moreover, if I say that, like, you can group multiple elements in particular block, right? And it can be anything. It can be your UI thing, it can be your action block. So action block means your moreover your backend calls, right? So you have three IPs and you want to call them all together at once, so you put everything in this action block. This is how it works, right? And then we have edit block, radio groups, steps. We will be using a step a lot. We already have one step created, but I'll show you like what is this step exactly. Then again, type ahead block, we'll go through those. This one is pretty cool because it does support a lot of things. And then this is important thing, inputs. So as again it name suggests, you can use any of these elements to build your input, like be it checkbox, currency, date, time, disclosure, email, lookups, password, a lot, right? Whatever you can imagine uh, for a front end input, that is there, right? Good thing if you have your own lightning component, right? And you see that there is some functionality which you are not able to achieve through this OmniScript, you can put your lightning component and communication can happen there, right? So and then at last we have OmniScript. Right now it is blank. So what does that mean is you can build your OmniScript reusable, right? So again, at the end, everything is LWC, right? So what does that mean is that if you have one LWC, you can use that LWC somewhere else, right? The same logic applies here. If you have this OmniScript and if you want to reuse somewhere else, you can do that. And it's pretty easy. The second thing here is setup. I won't be explaining and everything here because it might be confusing. So let's go what we will be using more and more. And in future, I might create some videos specific to some of the specific functionality here. Okay. So the first thing which is important, reusability. If you mark it reusable, then you can use this OmniScript from the another OmniScript, right? So let's say you build a screen which you are utilizing on multiple wizards, right? So rather than building that screen again and again on multiple wizards or multiple OmniScripts, you create one OmniScript and then you drag that there, right? So you can have reusability there. And let's leave this see data JSON. Pretty good thing, small but pretty good, right? So what it does have is that, like, consider these as your constant variable. So basically you define your variable and you define your value here, right? And that variable and value will be available to the entire journey, right? And but you cannot update those, and you cannot have your dynamic values coming here. So again, you can use this, and then if you want some dynamic and something like having some functions or complicated thing, right, then you can use another thing which is called set values element. We will explore that as well, and I'll show you this how it works. Step chart options. So if we have multiple steps, right, and we are building a wizard, right, for a user, so we can show steps right, left, top, where. And if you don't want to show the user, we can just simply hide that. I'll leave those as well as it is. I'm not showing you anything else here. Okay, cool. So we went through build, we went through the setup, and this is again good thing. So as you are creating steps, right, you will be seeing your entire map of the components here. So let's click on it. So as soon as you click on any element, right, which can be step, which can be your input text, anything, you will see a second tab popping up here, which is called properties, right? So these properties are regarding to this particular selected component or element. Okay, so name should be unique, label can be anything, something like this, test. You see this here, right? But this should be unique. And why this should be unique, I'll show you this, because this is pretty important to access the data from here and there. I'll keep simple button properties, right? So every step have a previous and next button. You can hide and you can show. It's a small trick that, like, if you don't want to show previous button, right, just remove this text or remove the previous width to 0, so the button won't be visible there. Okay, and again I'll keep everything simple here. So this is our step 1, and let's go and let's add one more step. So here functions, groups, yep, step. Okay, so if you see this, right, now we have step 1, and I'll keep the same here so we won't get confused. Step 2, cool. So we have this, we have this. Okay, so as you are adding components and these, you should able to see these. Well, it's not showing right away, which is very weird, but that's fine. Cool. And then you have another way of seeing all the components. It's like tree structure. Okay, so let's add some more stuff here, like some basic inputs. Input as a text should be fine. Okay, so I'll give this as first name. Again, this is kind of API name, so you can't have the space and in between. So first name becomes first name. Let's go back, let's put last name. Last name, and you know what, I will rename this to personal information. Okay, so we have personal information, and then in the step 2 I will call it as a company information. Same thing here. Okay, cool. And you know what, like, I will put one more text box here which says company name. Cool. So that's it. Okay, so we have this first step, second step, and I like tree structure. You can see the reason, right? So if you have multiple components or elements in the step itself, it will show you a kind of tree structure, right? uh, Again, the space is pretty less, right? You can expand it from like this. Now we have done this. Let's go back and let's preview it, because this is an important part to understand OmniScript, how it works. Okay, and it might take a couple of seconds to re-render, which is a bit annoying sometimes, but we can't do anything here, right? So here, if you see this, right, I was telling you about this, like where you want to keep your step information here, on the left, right, on the top, right? So you see this, we have first name, last name, and if you click next, you see it is handling everything automatically, right? Now if you see here, data JSON, okay, and then we have action debugger. Important thing, I really want you to pay attention here. So everything that you see on OmniScript is a JSON. Okay, every data element here is in a JSON node, right? So this means, if you see on the top right, this means that this JSON is, or these elements or these attributes are available on the top node. Okay, and then you see this another top node, which is personal information, because this step's API name is personal information. Okay, and then it does have object, because we have first name and last name inside the personal information. So I'll type snow. So as soon as I type it, you should be able to see this, right? First name, last name. I go next. I'll put Salesforce as a company name. You see another node called company information, and then we had this variable company name, right? Which was the API name of this, right? And the reason this is important, because this is how you will be accessing if you want to access something in next step or something like that, which I will show you right away. Okay, so let's go back for a moment and let's create a third step, which is like details. Okay, so you know what, whatever input we have taken here, and we want to show that straightforward, right? So I will utilize a display element here, the text block. Cool. So I'll go here. Okay, so how to access variable in OmniScript, right? So the way we do is percentage sign and the variable name. Okay, so whatever variable name we have, it should work here, right? So for a moment, let's go back. Okay, so here I want to access first name, which is available in the personal information, right? So personal information, and I'll check first name F capital and N capital, and again this is JavaScript JSON, right? So everything is case sensitive. So personal information and then first name, right? So if you want to access a node, you go with the colon, right? If you have one more block and node, then you will go like colon access this, something like this, right? So I'll make it a bit pretty here. First name, last name, save, and I'll check what I have given here. Company information and the company name. Company information, or I would say company name, right? And then percentage, company information, company name. Perfect. Okay, cool. So we'll go back and we'll preview it once again. It's taking a bit of time, and here we go. So here I provided Vishnu and Kumar. Next, Salesforce. Next, you see this, right? So this is how you access the variables, right? Pretty straightforward. Again, everything flows like a JSON, right? So keep that thing in mind, which is pretty important, because it will be important when you're passing data to the data raptor, when you're passing data to the IP, and even though if IP is returning back anything, it will be added into the same node, which I will show you in next a couple of videos. If you see this, right? So if you want to like get these variables, right, because these variables are not available in any child nodes, you can access directly. So if for example, if I want to access username, it should be straightforward. Like go there, just type like user name, save, preview, right? So it should be available on third step. I can show you even though without filling any data, and it gives you user ID, right? The way that we access anything in this Apex class, right? So there you go. So you have your username coming automatically, which is pretty cool. Cool. So that's it for this video, and see you in the next session. Bye bye.